Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept our humble obeisances.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
so much.
Please accept
Thank
my
you so
humble Sushila Prabhupada.
much. I would like to just introduce you, Mataji. So, we are all very fortunate to have Her Grace Sitarani Mataji to teach us Unit 2 of our Bhakti Shastri course. So, Mataji is economics honors from SRCC, and thereafter she has done masters in economics from Delhi School of Economics. Then she also did masters in Oracle Financials from Oracle University. Then Mataji has worked in numerous organizations in New York, and she has been practicing Krishna consciousness since the past 17 years. And Mataji has been teaching Srila Prabhupada's books and especially Bhakti Shastri since the last 14 years. Mataji is a Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, and Bhakti Vedant graduate from VIHE, and she has, I think, 2 Bhakti Vaibhav degrees from VIHE and MI. So we are very fortunate to have you, Mataji. Thank you so much for taking this.
Thank you, Sushila. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, especially Rohini Institute, for inviting me and giving me this opportunity. So, is it okay to start? Or
yes, Mataji, we can start at 7. Yes.
All right. So, thank you all for joining. I'm going to share a screen because I believe you people have covered the first 6 chapters. So, I just want to give an overview of Bhagavad Gita. Maybe you've done it before, but I just want to do that. Can you see the screen? The screen is visible?
Yes, Mataji, it's visible.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So just to do a brief overview of Bhagavad Gita, what exactly are we getting into? What are we reading? Where are we? So as you know that we are studying from the Bhagavad Gita of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and his commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. And the way Bhagavad Gita is organized is the first 6 chapters are basically about Karma Yoga leading to Bhakti Yoga. Then 7 to 12 is Bhakti Yoga, and last 6 chapters, 13 to 18, is basically Gyan Yoga, how Gyan Yoga leads to Bhakti Yoga. So on both the sides, you have different kinds of yoga and what they lead to. What is the final goal of even Karma Yoga or Gyan Yoga? And in the center, you have Bhakti Yoga, which is actually the goal of any other kind of yoga. And why Bhakti is in the middle? So our acharyas tell us that because it is very confidential. So whatever is very confidential, we don't reveal right away. We take time, build on it, and then the secret is revealed. And Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all scriptures, and that is why, because it is extremely secret, it is kept right in the middle. And also both Gyan Yoga and Karma Yoga get their life from Bhakti Yoga. For Karma Yoga to be successful, there has to be some bhakti. And similarly, Gyan Yoga to be successful, there has to be some bhakti. So that is why bhakti is surrounded by Karma Yoga and Gyan Yoga. And also, when we have a treasure, if there is a box and we keep our treasure in it, there is a top cover and there is a bottom cover of that box. So Karma Yoga acts as the top cover and Gyan Yoga acts as the bottom cover, and treasure is right in the middle. And so when the king is also, our acharyas give this explanation that when king travels with his army, he is always in the middle. He's never in the front. There are some army members in the beginning and some at the back, and the king is in the middle. So this king of knowledge, which is Bhakti, is right in the middle of Bhakti Yoga, and right in the middle of Bhagavad Gita. So that is why this is how Bhagavad Gita is organized. So you have covered the first 6 chapters, which necessarily deal with Karma Yoga. There is some Ashtanga Yoga also, and there is some Gyan Yoga also. But necessarily it is Karma Yoga, and then 7 to 12 is Bhakti Yoga, and then 13 to 18 is primarily Gyan Yoga. And as you all probably are aware, there are 700 verses in Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna speaks 575, Arjun speaks 83 verses, Sanjay speaks 41, and Dhritarashtra speaks only 1 verse, the first verse of Bhagavad Gita. So this is how the verses are broken down. So I just wanted to give a brief overview before we start. Okay? So before we start, we'll just do Manglacharan. I'm sure you all are aware. It's the page number 1 of the introduction in our Bhagavad Gita. So we'll all chant Manglacharan and then we'll start. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे Okay, so how are you people really studying? Is the screen being shared when you're studying, or are you just reading from the books? Yes, yes, Prabhu.
Mataji, we generally read from the screen. So the screen is being displayed with the book, and one of the student used to read the text from there.
Okay, wonderful. So let me do that. I'll just share my screen. Okay, chapter 7. So I guess the way we are going is that somebody will volunteer to read a text. Is that how we are going, or do you have a reading order?
No, we generally volunteer much.
Okay, so we can start with the first verse. So 7 till now, what we have done, we have read about different kinds of yoga, including Ashtanga yoga, and at the end of the 6th chapter, the Lord is concluding that yoginam api sarvesham matgatinantar atmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukto tamah mata. Right? That he's saying that of all the yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders loving devotion, transcendental loving service to me, is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. So Krishna is giving his opinion that actually a person who's engaged in bhakti yoga, who's engaged with his body and senses and mind in my service, is the dearmost to me. Now, without even Arjun asking any question, Krishna starts this chapter is starting with Krishna actually starting to explain what that person, what that bhakti yogi really looks like. What is the characteristic of such a bhakti yogi? So Arjun has not really asked a question. Normally we see the way it goes is that Arjun would ask a question and then Krishna starts replying. But in this chapter, he's starting on his own. And it's a very important verse. I'll just read this verse and then somebody can read the translation and purport. Shri Bhaganuvacha Maya Saktamana Partha Yogam Yunjanmadashayah Asamshayam Samagram Mam Yatha Gyasyasi Tatshunu. Okay, so Vaibhavi, you are volunteering to read the translation. Please.
Hare
go ahead.
Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble
Please
obeisance.
accept mine. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, go ahead.
Translation: The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Now hear, O son of Partha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt." Hare
Thank you. So what he's saying that by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, this is really the key that what does he want? He wants that a person should be practicing yoga while being fully conscious of Krishna. That's what actually Krishna consciousness means. To be fully conscious of Krishna, to be aware that whatever we are doing is for the pleasure of the Lord. It is for His purpose that we are doing, with mind attached to me, mind not attached to sense gratification, mind attached to Krishna. And then he's saying that if you practice yoga like this, you can know me in full, free from doubt. And before that, what he says, now here, tat shunu, here. And Prabhupada gives a very beautiful commentary. So we'll just read the portions that I've highlighted. And most of the purports in this chapter are really beautiful. So we'll end up probably reading most of the purports fully. But I've highlighted the portions that we are going to read in this class, so somebody can volunteer and restart reading the portions that I've highlighted.
Can I, Mataji?
Yeah, go ahead.
In the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, the living entity has been described as non-material spirit soul capable of elevating himself to self-realization by different types of yogas. At the end of the 6th chapter, it has been clearly stated that the steady concentration of the mind upon Krishna, or in other words, Krishna consciousness is the highest form of all yoga. By concentrating one's mind upon Krishna, one is able to know the absolute truth completely, but not otherwise. Impersonal Brahma Jyoti or localized Paramatma realization is not perfect knowledge of the absolute truth because it is partial. Full and scientific knowledge is Krishna, and everything is revealed to the person in Krishna consciousness. In complete Krishna consciousness, one knows that Krishna is ultimate knowledge, and beyond any doubt, different types of yogas are only stepping stones on the path of Krishna consciousness. One who takes directly to Krishna consciousness automatically knows about Brahma Jyoti or Paramatma in full. By practice of Krishna consciousness yoga, one can know everything in full, namely the absolute truth, the living entities, the material nature, and their manifestations with paraphernalia. One should therefore begin yoga practice as directed in the last verse of the 6th chapter. Concentration of the mind upon Krishna, the Supreme, is made possible by prescribed devotional service in 9 different forms, of which Shraman is the first and most important. The Lord therefore says to Arjuna, Tachrunu, or hear from me. No one can be greater authority than Krishna, and therefore by hearing from him, one receives the greatest opportunity to become a perfectly Krishna conscious person. One has therefore to learn from Krishna directly or from a pure devotee of Krishna and not from a non-devotee upstart puffed up with academic education. Hare Krishna. Mataji. Mataji, you're not audible.
Thank you. So Prabhupada is focusing on the word tashunu, that please listen very carefully. Because like Prabhupada is mentioning, that Shravan is the starting point. There are 9 processes of devotional service, but the starting point is Shravan. If you hear, then you can practice. If you hear, then you can chant. If you hear, then you can remember. So starting point is Shravan. Without Shravanam, nothing really works. So now Krishna is saying that you hear from me, because hearing is so very important. So now we have seen that before 7th chapter, Krishna is talking about Karma Yoga, or how like bhakti practice with a covering of karma. A person is doing his whatever he needs to do, and at the same time dedicating it to Krishna. So that is Karma Yoga. But now here he's going to talk about Bhakti Yoga, purely Bhakti Yoga. 7 to 12 is purely Bhakti Yoga, no covering of any kind of Gyan, no covering of any kind of karma. Okay? And we see here that Prabhupada is talking about that if somebody has realized if somebody has realized absolute truth fully, then we can understand that he has already realized Brahma Jyoti or localized Paramatma realization, right? It's like if you take a mundane example, that if somebody understands the mathematics of 10th class, you would know, or you can expect that he would know what's in the mathematics of 5th class or 8th class, because if he's already reached till 10th, then he knows what's before that. So similarly, if somebody has realized Krishna in his personal form, then it is to be understood that he's already realized Brahm, which is Brahma Jyoti, impersonal Brahma Jyoti, which is nothing but the effulgence of Krishna's body, and he has also realized Paramatma, which is the form of Krishna, four-handed form of Krishna sitting in everyone's heart, Shirodakshay Vishnu, right? So one can actually come to that conclusion. And then Prabhupada, in his purport, quotes from Srimad Bhagavatam, and there are a series of verses in the 2nd chapter, 1st canto, which talk about what is the importance of hearing. Like Shrinvatam Swakatha Krishna, Punya Shravanat Kirtana, Hridyantastu hi Bhadrani, Vidhunoti Sruhit Satam, Nashprayeshu Bhadreshu, Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya, Bhagavati Uttama Shloke, Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Tada Rajastamo Bhava, Kama Lobha Dayaschaye, Cheta Eter Anavidham Sthitam Sattve Prasidati. Evam Prasanna Manaso Bhagavad Bhakti Yogata, Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam Mukta Sangasya Jayate. Vidyate Hridaya Granthesh Chidyante Sarva Samshaya Kshiyante Chasya Karmani Drishta Eva Manishware. So these are a series of verses in Bhagavatam 2nd chapter, where it is described that how by hearing Shrinvatam Swakatha Krishna, by hearing from the right sources, from Bhagavatam, from the devotees, Bhakta Bhagavat, by hearing from the right sources, a person becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. And as he becomes fixed, the effects of the lower modes of passion and ignorance, get completely destroyed. And that person actually also ends up destroying the material affiliations or attachment to material enjoyment. And as these anarthas go away, and a person comes to the point of being situated in pure goodness. And the Hridaya Granthi, Bhidyate Hridaya Granthish, there are knots in our heart, knots of material enjoyment, knots of material attachment. These knots get severed and completely get destroyed, and the heart becomes completely purified. So this is the process. So that is why hearing is so important, to actually attentively hear, whether it is the holy name, whether it is any transcendental message. Hearing attentively is the key. Okay? So now Prabhupada in his purport says, therefore only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness can one understand the science of Krishna. That is the only process. There is no other process for really understanding the science of Krishna. Somebody might now say that, oh, well, I can even know that by reading, right? Why hearing has been given so much importance. So Prabhupada says that hearing and reading are in the same category. So the source of all our knowledge is what we have read or what we have heard from our acharyas, from the books of Srila Prabhupada, from other devotees. So that is how one can actually understand Krishna and practice devotional service. Okay, so can we move on to the second shloka? Does anyone have any question or any discussion point here? Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji, pranam. Madhu, I have one question. Lastly, you said that Prabhupada mentioned that reading and hearing is under the same category.
Yes.
But we hear from the authorized sources, and when we read from the authorized scriptures and all. But while reading, we sometimes tend to manipulate the things by our own, right? If I read a sentence, let's for example in Bhagavad Gita as well, the the intention is different, but I understood in some other way. So how they can be on the same level, Mataji, or on the same category?
Nice question. Even hearing can be manipulated according to our mind, right? I may be saying something, but you can choose to interpret it in the way you feel like. So it is actually on the receiver. That's why bona fide speaker and bona fide listener, they both are important. It's not just one. The message could be bona fide, but if we are not a bona fide hearer, then we'll distort that message according to what suits us, or what is comfortable for us. So that is why both the sources have to be bona fide. And at the same time, when we hear something or when we read something, it is always good to go back and check it with different devotees or with the spiritual master. That is why we have this system of Guru Sadhu Shastra. This is our checking system through Guru Sadhu Shastra. When we hear something from Sadhu, when we hear something from, when we read something from the Shastra, we confirm it. We confirm it. Have I really understood what is being said? Or even like in a class, if you hear something and you think that maybe I'm not able to really interpret it in the way it has been spoken, it's always good to clarify. Have I really understood the way it is meant to be understood? So it can happen both with hearing and reading. It's not just limited to reading. It can even happen with hearing. Okay? Text 2. So I'll read the shloka and then somebody can read the translation. Jnanam teham savijnanam idam vakshyami asheshatah yat kyatva neha bhuyonyaj gyatva vyam avishishyate. Yeah.
I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know.
Yeah, so now Krishna is saying that now I'm going to tell you everything that is there to know, whether it's material knowledge or whether it's spiritual knowledge. And after this being known, nothing further shall remain. And why is Krishna telling this to Arjun? We read in the 4th chapter. Why is he revealing this knowledge to Arjun?
Because Arjuna is his friend and his devotee as well.
Yes, because Arjuna is his friend and a devotee. And Krishna will say that again in Bhagavad Gita, that I'm telling you this because you are my friend and my devotee and you are not envious of me. So that is again another key to get the knowledge from Krishna, that one has to have a positive intent to serve Krishna. One must be positively inclined towards Krishna, and one should not be envious of Krishna to get the knowledge the way it's meant to be. Okay, so purport. Somebody can read the purport.
Complete knowledge includes knowledge of the phenomenal world, the spirit behind it, and the source of both of them. This is transcendental knowledge.
Yeah. So complete knowledge, that partial knowledge is what? To know that we are spirit. We are not this material body. That's partial knowledge. But complete knowledge means to know that how does this material world really work? Who's behind it? Who's the source of both of them? And how we can actually develop our relationship. And this is transcendental knowledge. Not just knowing that we are spirit, that's not enough. What are we meant to do as spirit? That also we have to know. Okay, so now read this also.
Complete knowledge can be achieved only by the devotee of the Lord in disciplic succession, directly from the Lord. Therefore, one should be intelligent enough to know the source of all knowledge, who is the cause of all causes and the only object for meditation in all types of yoga practice. When the cause of all causes becomes known, then everything knowable becomes known and nothing remains unknown.
Yes. So somebody might even question that when Krishna is saying that nothing will remain to be known, what does it really mean? That, we'll get all the knowledge? What it really means is that once the connection with the Lord is established, whatever we need to know, He will make us aware of it. As He's sitting as Super Soul, so whatever we need to know, that will become revealed to us. It's not necessary that we'll know everything about every field after reading this, or Arjun knew everything about everything. But whatever Arjun needed to know, because of that strong connection with Krishna, that knowledge became revealed to him. So complete knowledge is knowledge of matter and spirit, and the controller of both. Who's the controller of matter and who's the controller of spirit? That is actually the complete knowledge. Gyan means to just know that I am not this body, I am spirit. But Vigyan is to know that who's behind the matter and who's behind the spirit and how to serve him. That is really Vigyan. Okay, so now we go to the third shloka. This is a very important shloka. Is this a memory verse for you guys or no?
No, Mataji.
No, okay. Yeah. Daya, you want to read? Is that why you have raised your hand, or do you have a question?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I have question.
Okay, go ahead.
Mataji, you said that Vigyan means to know the personality behind matter and the spirit, right? So if we are knowing the personality behind spirit, why that is not enough? Because if we know that Krishna is behind all, in that matter doesn't come.
Vigyan means actually applied knowledge. If you take the literal meaning of Vigyan, it means applied knowledge. So knowing that Krishna is behind the matter and spirit, and then to serve him. If you know that Krishna is behind everything but you don't serve him, what's the purpose of that knowledge? Nothing. It's not really realized knowledge or applied knowledge. It becomes applied knowledge only when you act on that platform. That knowing that he is behind everything and engaging in his service, then it becomes applied knowledge.
Okay.
Is that okay? Not convinced?
Yes. Convinced, but like it's a little bit confusion that if we know that Krishna is behind everything, that comes into our Vigyan, right?
When we start to practice on that level, then it becomes Vigyan.
Okay, by knowing we start to implement, then
Yeah.
it became.
Yeah, then it
Okay.
becomes Vigyan. Just like hearing has 4 stages, right? First is you hear, then you do manan, which is contemplation. What have I heard? And then you contemplate on it. And then third is nididhyasan, which means to apply it, apply that knowledge. And then the fourth is vandanam. You pray that Krishna, I've heard this and this is what I've understood, and I want to apply this in my life. Then hearing is really complete. Hearing is complete when all these 4 stages are there. That is actually hearing. Hearing means Shravan, Manan, Nididhyasan, and Vandanam.
Got it.
Okay, so this is a very important verse because we'll hear similar things. Krishna will point out similar things in the same chapter in text 19 and text 26, that how rare it is to become a devotee, how devotional service is so rare. So I'll just read the shloka. Manushyanam sahasreshu kashidyatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kaschin mam veti tatvataha.
Translation: Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth.
Yeah, so he's saying that so many people, out of many thousand of men, one may endeavor for perfection. And of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. So what does he really mean by achieving perfection and not yet knowing him in truth? You know, they see, like, if somebody has achieved perfection, then they should know him in truth. So why does he say that? Any ideas? Why does he say that of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth? Yeah, Daya?
Because they doesn't implement.
They have achieved perfection. So they have achieved something,
They
right?
have achieved maybe Brahm, that in last chapter we read Brahm Jyoti, but not
Okay.
completely.
Okay. Shubham
Hare
Prabhu?
Krishna Mataji.
1 second.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yes, similar. This is a similar point. Okay, they have achieved the Paramatma level, or they have come to the Brahm level. They have perfected, like got the perfection, but they don't know about the Bhagavan.
Yes, thank you. Good.
They are not satisfied whatever perfection they get.
Good. Yes. So when he says, because the supreme truth, absolute truth, can be realized in three aspects, right? First is Brahma, second is Paramatma, and third is Bhagavan. So they are all transcendentalists. All three of them are, whether one is Brahmavadi, whether one is Paramatmavadi, or whether one is a devotee of the personal aspect of the Lord, they all considered as transcendentalists. So when Krishna is saying here that of those who have achieved perfection, that means those who people may have actually realized, as Paramatma, Krishna as Paramatma or as Brahma, but hardly one knows me in truth. Out of those, hardly anybody would know him in his personal aspect. So that's how rare it is. So when we read verses like this, then it kind of makes us aware of our own position, how rare this great fortune is to be able to know about Krishna and his personal aspect. We can really understand that this is so rare. Sometimes we kind of lose sight of this fact that this is a great fortune to be in devotional service. It's a great fortune to be worshiping Krishna. We sometimes forget, but when we read verses like this, then we realized how great is our fortune and how merciful Srila Prabhupada is, because he gave it all so easily to us that sometimes we just miss the point completely. Right? Purport?
The first 6 chapters of the Gita are meant for those who are interested in transcendental knowledge, in understanding the self, the super self, and the process of realization by Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and discrimination of the Krishna consciousness. Other
No.
transcendentalists may achieve.
Discrimination of the self from matter.
I'm so sorry, Madhavi. Discrimination of the self from matter. However, Krishna can be known only by persons who are in Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, wait. Now
Other transcendent.
stop. So this is one line I really want to stress on. Krishna can be known only by persons who are in Krishna consciousness. What do you understand by this line? Who can know Krishna?
Mataji, can I?
Yes, Vaibhavi.
Mataji, who have accepted Krishna as supreme.
So you have accepted Krishna as supreme. So does it mean that Krishna can be known by you? When Prabhupada writes his purports, they are written in very simple language but very deep. These purports are extremely deep. So here it is said Krishna can be known only by persons who are in Krishna consciousness.
It's Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati. The only bhaktas can know him.
Yes, but in Krishna consciousness, we could be practicing devotional service, we could be looking like devotees, and yet may not be in Krishna consciousness. Does it make sense to anybody or no? Tulsi, you want to say something?
Yeah, I think this line is meaning is like the one who dedicate their results of fruit activities to Krishna. Krishna is only known by them.
Yeah, dedication of fruitive activities to Krishna. Okay, that's one step. Jyoti?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dhanvatman.
what I understood is the one who is following the parampara properly in the right mood, and they are understanding it in that order of the parampara, and following all the rules and regulations.
Okay, so what is being in Krishna consciousness? To be conscious of Krishna, to know that who is the reason for my activities, who's actually the beneficiary of all my activities, who's my goal, who's my goal, what is the purpose of all the activities that I'm doing. I'm sitting in the class today. What is the purpose? Why am I here? That's something, that intent has to be fixed every time we do something. Why am I here in the class? I could be here because I enrolled for the course, so I might as well go. I could be there because, okay, it's, I came to know that for second initiation, Bhakti Shastri degree is important, so I need to go. Many reasons I could be sitting here, right? What is the right reason to be sitting here? Daya?
To understand,
Oh, Prabhu, yes, go ahead.
Mataji, to understand the science of Krishna, to understand Bhagavad Gita.
To understand the science of Krishna and to actually establish our relationship with Him, establish our connection with Him, to understand what is it that Krishna wants from us and to act on that platform, to become aware of Him. And in fact, in this chapter, we will see that He will tell us how to be aware of Him in everything. In this material world, how can we see different things and be aware of Krishna's presence? So, to become conscious of Krishna, we are not even conscious of gross bodies around us.
Mhm.
Are we conscious of other devotees around us? Do our dealings always reflect that we are conscious? No. We push and shove when we have to take darshan. We go to a yatra, and there are a lot of people, and we somehow kind of push and shove and reach where we have to. And how conscious are we of even the gross bodies, let alone somebody as subtle and spiritual as Krishna? So this is something that we have to become aware of, that this is not something, Krishna consciousness is not an external activity. It is not like I dress up like a devotee, I have a bead bag, I have neck beads, I have tilak on, and now I'm a devotee. Krishna consciousness is the matter of the heart. It is the matter of where our consciousness is. What are we thinking about? Who's actually the priority in our lives? Is it Krishna, or is everything else and maybe Krishna also? Right? So when Prabhupada says Krishna can be known only by persons who are in Krishna consciousness, we may be in ISKCON for 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, and yet not be conscious of Krishna. Okay? Yeah. Go ahead, Vaibhavi. Read rest of the purport.
Other transcendentalists may achieve impersonal Brahman realization, for this is easier than understanding Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Person, but at the same time, he is beyond the knowledge of Brahman and Paramatma. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes, the primeval Lord Govinda, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha, Anadiradi Govinda, Sarvakarana Karanam. It is very difficult for the non-devotees to know him. Although non-devotees declare that the path of bhakti or devotional service is very easy, they cannot practice it. Actually, the path of bhakti is not easy. The so-called path of bhakti practiced by unauthorized persons without knowledge of bhakti may be easy, but when it is practiced factually according to the rules and regulations, the speculative scholars and philosophers fall away from the path. It is not possible for the Brahman realized impersonalist or the Paramatma realized yogi to understand Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as the son of Mother Yashoda or the charioteer of Arjuna. Therefore, unless one practices devotional service to the Lord, one cannot know Krishna as he is Tattvataha. Even though one is a great scholar or philosopher, only the pure devotees can know him, know something of the inconceivable transcendental qualities in Krishna. His being the cause of all causes, his omnipotence and opulence, his wealth, fame, strength, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. Because Krishna is benevolently inclined to his devotees, he is the last word in Brahman realization, and the devotee alone can realize him as he is.
Yeah. So here Prabhupada is mentioning that Krishna is known by his own mercy because he is benevolently inclined to his devotees. It is by the mercy of the Lord can we know him. And why would Krishna decide to be merciful on someone? When he sees that this person is trying to actually establish a connection with me, this person is trying to serve me, that's when he becomes inclined. And that's when the mercy comes. And when that mercy comes, we can understand Krishna. Otherwise, it's not possible. If we think that by our scholarship, by our analytical ability, by some like really high flying philosophy, we can understand Krishna, it's not possible. Krishna is understood out of his own desire, out of his own sweet wish. When he chooses to reveal himself. And he chooses to reveal when he sees that a person is trying to establish a connection, a person is trying to serve. So that's when he decides to reveal himself. Okay? All right, text 4. So from here, from 7.4 to 12, we'll see that he'll explain that how he is the source of all material and spiritual energies. You know, how he's the source of everything. That's what he's going to explain. So he starts with the material elements. So he says, Bhumir apo nalo vayu kham mano buddhir evacha ahankar itiyam me bhinna prakritir ashtadha. So somebody
Translation.
hold
Translation.
on. Vaibhavi, does it work like that you only read and
No,
nobody else reads?
anybody can read. Anybody can hand raise and they can
Nobody
read.
is even volunteering. So I'm wondering that is it like you've been assigned
It's like,
to just read?
no, Madhuri, it's like Prabhuji used to give 6 to 7 verses to one person, and then he used to give 6 to 7 verses to other person. So that's how. Or
Okay.
anybody can volunteer, they can read.
Okay. Whichever way you people want to, I don't have a problem. So, okay, go ahead. I just wanted to know what's the system here.
If anyone wants to read, they can read.
Go ahead.
Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Altogether, these 8 constitute my separated material energies.
Yeah. So here he's talking about his material energy. So we'll see in the purport, Prabhupada talks about that how he defeats atheistic concept and impersonalism in this verse. So atheistic concept is what? That, atheistic concept is that everything happens on its own. It's arranged by the nature. This is atheistic, that when people don't believe in a higher power, they don't believe in God. And they say, oh, it just happened, this just happened on its own. So here he's saying that earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego are my separated material energies. I am behind them. So he's actually defeating the atheistic concept. And when he says that they are my energy, he is also defeating impersonalism. Impersonalism means what? Impersonalists always say that this material world is an illusion, it's not real. But he's saying here that this material energy exists. It may be temporary, but it is not unreal. This material and the material manifestation of the material energy may be temporary, but it is not unreal. So he's defeating impersonalism also. And also by saying that these 8 constitute my separated material energies, he's also defeating the concept that everything in this world is for our enjoyment. We have this conception that whatever I see, whatever I have is for my enjoyment. So Krishna is saying these are my material energies. These are mine. They are meant for my service. They are not meant for your service. They are not meant for your enjoyment. Okay, so let's read the purport. So in this purport, Prabhupada explains how the material manifestation comes about and how Krishna expands and then from Balaram, the further expansions come and Purusha avatars come. And how these Purusha avatars come and this whole material manifestation is there because of Purusha avatars. Keshavi, you want to read or you have a question? Why do you have your hand up?
Mataji, I want to read.
You want to read? Okay, go ahead. Read.
For material creation, Lord Krishna's plenary expansion assumes three Vishnus. The first one, Vishnu, creates total material energy, known as the Mahatattva. The second, Garbhashai Vishnu, enters into all the universes to create diversities in each of them. The third, Kshirodakshai Vishnu, is diffused as the all-pervading super soul in all the universes and is known as Paramatma. He is present even within the atoms. Anyone who knows these three Vishnus can be liberated from material entanglement. This material world is a temple manifestation, one of the energies of the Lord. All the activities of the material world are directed by these three Vishnu, expansions of Lord Krishna. These Purushas are called incarnations. Generally, who does not know the science of God Krishna assumes that this material world is for the enjoyment of the living entities and that the living entities are the Purushas, the causes, controllers, and enjoyers of this material energy. The ingredients of the material manifestation are separated energies of the Lord. Even the Brahma Jyoti, which is the ultimate goal of the impersonalist, is a spiritual energy manifested in the spiritual sky because there are no spiritual diversities in the Brahma Jyoti as there are in Vaikuntha Lokas. The impersonalist accepts the Brahma Jyoti as the opposite of the temporary material energy. The Paramatma manifestation is also temporary, all-pervasive as the Kshirodakshai Vishnu. The Paramatma manifestation is not eternal in the spiritual world. Therefore, the actual absolute truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. He is the complete energetic person and he possesses different separated and internal energies.
Yeah,
In
stop. Wait. So it's a long purport, so we'll go slowly. Okay, so here Prabhupada is saying that first he's explaining how the material creation takes place, that Krishna's plenary portions, the three plenary expansions, Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and Kshirodakshai Vishnu, they play a role in making it happen. Now, are you all aware of how this creation happens, or is somebody not aware and wants us to discuss it? Daya?
One discussion.
You want discussion, okay. So when material creation, and many places Prabhupada explains that material creations happens because the living entities want to enjoy separately from Krishna. Krishna has no need for a material creation. He doesn't really want to do this material creation, but he sees that the living entities do not want to be with him and they want to enjoy separately from him. So then he arranges for this material world to manifest so that those living entities who want to enjoy separately from him can come here and try to enjoy. So the first thing that happens is that he expands as Balaram, and from Balaram the first Chaturvyu comes, which is Sankarshan, Vasudev, Anirudh, and Pradyumna. And then from Sankarshan the second Chaturvyu comes, again Sankarshan, Vasudev, Anirudh, and Pradyumna. And then from Sankarshan comes Mahavishnu. So Mahavishnu is the one, or he's also known as Karanodakshai Vishnu. He lies down on Karan ocean or causal ocean, and he breathes in and breathes out. When he breathes out, from each and every pore of his skin, a universe gets manifested. Different Brahmans come out of the pores of his body when he breathes out. Okay? And when he breathes in, all this material world is finished. Material manifestation is finished. So we can imagine that all this, that yuga cycles, this, that, everything is one breath of Mahavishnu. Is one breath of Mahavishnu. Okay, so and once these universes appear, then Mahavishnu expands as Garbhodakshai Vishnu and enters each universe. Each and every universe he enters as Garbhodakshai Vishnu. Now, Garbhodakshay Vishnu populates the universe with his with his sweat, and it is known as Garbhodak Ocean. It is known as Garbhodak Ocean, and he lies down on this Garbhodak Ocean, and from his navel, lotus flowers sprouts, lotus stem and flower. Right? This stem of lotus is actually the 14 planetary systems. 14 planetary systems, like six lokas above, seven lokas above Earth, and six lokas below Earth. Right? So these are the 14 planetary systems, topmost being Brahmaloka. And from the lotus, Brahma comes. Brahma appears, Lord Brahma. So in every universe, there is a manifestation of Garbhodakshay Vishnu and a Brahma. Different Brahma is there in every universe. And we read this also in Chaitanya Charitamrita that some universes are bigger and some are smaller. Our universe is one of the smallest. So our Brahma is four-headed, right? There are some universes which are very big and there could be 1,000-headed Brahma because it's a very big universe. So like that. Now Brahma starts creating, different bodies are being created by Brahma. And now Garbhodakshay Vishnu expands as Kshirodakshay Vishnu or Super Soul or Paramatma and enters into each and every of this body and as Super Soul. So this is how material creation takes place. Okay, is that okay? So these are the Purush. These three incarnations are known as Purusha incarnations. They are known as Purusha incarnations. Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and Kshirodakshay Vishnu. And they are actually the causes, enjoyers, and controllers of the material energy. But what happens? We come in this world and we start thinking, oh wow, this is for my enjoyment. I'm supposed to be enjoying here. And then we get trapped in this material world. Yes, Prabhu, you have a question or comment?
Yes, Mataji, I have a question. Mataji, in the starting, you said that the living entities wants to enjoy separately. That's why the material manifestation is created. But from where they are coming? Are they coming from the Golok Vrindavan or from different spiritual planet?
This is a very long discussion, and many times Prabhupada was asked this question that where are they coming from? Where are the jivas coming from? So he never really specified, but he used to say they came from the spiritual world. They came from the spiritual world, and the reason was that they did not want to be with the Lord and serve Him. They wanted to enjoy separately from Him.
So even in the spiritual world, there is some sort of mentality wherein the living entities want to enjoy separately, apart from Lord.
Krishna never takes away our free will. Even when we go back to the spiritual world, we will still have the free will. Krishna will never take away our free will. So you can choose by your free will to enjoy separately from Krishna. He will never intervene in that or interfere in that.
So, Mataji, another question. In our previous classes, we understand that spiritual world comprises of many of the planets, like Golok Vrindavan is one of them, and Vaikuntha Lok is one of them.
Yeah.
Yes. So probably those living entities, because if we are in Golok Vrindavan, so probably that separately enjoying mentality is still there in Golok Vrindavan, is it?
Only for some unfortunate souls. 3/4 of the creation is in the spiritual world, very happy to be serving Krishna. Only 1/4 of the total creation is actually in the material world. So those unfortunate souls, very few of them did not want to serve Krishna and ended up here. But most of them are there. If you think population is a problem here, the spiritual world has 3 times more population. Okay? Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji.
Now I see 2 hands up. Now, is it for reading or do you have if you have a question, unmute yourself and ask. If it's for reading, then I just want to explain a little bit of this and then go ahead. Okay?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I have a question regarding Prabhuji's query. That I've read in Bhagavatam somewhere that when one reaches to Golok, they never comes back.
Yeah. Even
So,
Krishna will say that. Krishna will say that in the 8th chapter, that once somebody comes back to my abode, that person will not come back. So that is there, because in Hindi there is this saying, "Doodh ka jala chhach ko bhi phuk phuk ke
Taj
pita,"
Fook Fook ke Pita.
right? That once you have experienced the misery of the material world, how miserable it is, and and it's not going to be easy to go back. Maya is going to test us fully just to make sure that we are eligible to go back. Once such a person goes back, he will not even dream of coming back to the material world. He will not dream of trying to enjoy separately from Krishna. But 99.9999999% people would do that. But there may still be somebody who's stupid enough to actually think, I can maybe still enjoy separately from Krishna, because the free will is still there. Still there. So that it's never the case that, oh, now nobody can come back. It's never that case. It's always like, yes, they won't come back because of their experience and because of the test they go through, but there is still a possibility. That possibility will always exist. It may not happen in reality, but the possibility is there. Is that okay?
Thank you, Mataji.
Daya, you want to read?
No, I have question.
Okay.
Mataji, how does the free will work? Like in this world, we are said that we have gross body and subtle body. That subtle body is composed of mind, intelligence, and false ego, right? So, like these are the tools, or these are the things through which things happens. Then the free will. I want to know more about this free will, how it works there.
I don't know if I really understand your question, but I'll try to say something. That the way free will works is that Prabhupada explains that Krishna loves us. If you really love somebody, you never force them to do anything. If you really love your child, you will not force your child, you have to love me back. No. That's the child's prerogative. You do everything for that child, but the child loves you back or not is not something you can force. So, like that, Krishna does not force us. He may suggest, he may give us certain experiences so that we understand what choices we need to make in our lives. As super soul, he may prompt us, don't do it. This is not good for you. But if we still choose to do something, Krishna does not interfere. Krishna will not interfere. The free will, the way it works is that if you did not have a free will, what is the purpose of all of us sitting here in the class? If everything is pre-decided, everything Krishna is only going to decide, then why we need to make any effort? Let him decide everything. Krishna wants to see that, okay, Daya wants to know more about me. She is making an effort to know more about me. She wants to develop a connection with me. That's what Krishna is trying to see. And that's why we have been given a free will, a choice. We always have a choice. You always have a choice to hear about Krishna and not hear about Krishna. There are many things you can do. Right? You all are sitting here today, but you could have done many other things. That's your free will. And that Krishna does not take away.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you. Another question.
Okay. Yeah, go.
Sorry.
No problem. Go ahead.
Mataji, like the separated part, Vishnu, you explained three incarnation, like three separated part, Vishnu. So like
three incarnations, three expansions.
Three expansion of Krishna is Vishnu, that is Kshirodakshaya and Mahavishnu. So if we worship Vishnu, then we will go to spiritual world like Golok Vrindavan or Vaikunt.
Tell me one thing, if you can have a direct connection with Ambani, why would you go and try to establish a connection with his manager? Make sense?
No.
If you have direct access to Ambani, why would you go and try to have access to his manager?
Then why Krishna ordered to worship Vishnu?
When he says Vishnu, it actually means him. But at the same time, not everybody would be able to develop their faith in Krishna. Because Krishna is not a straight God. He is not a straight God. Not a lot of people cannot accept Krishna as God because of his activities. It's not easy to accept Krishna as God. But Vishnu one can accept as God. Ram one can accept because the way they behave, right? So not everybody is able to develop their faith in Krishna. So Krishna wants to give us options. If you're not able to develop faith in me, okay, you can develop faith in Ram. Very good. Go to him. If you don't want to develop your faith in me, you can develop in Vishnu. Go ahead. That's bona fide worship. But for Gaudiya Vaishnavas who have access to Krishna, why would you think about worshipping Vishnu?
Got it. Thank you.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji, I have a question.
Who is this? I'm not able to see. Okay, hold on. Yeah, go ahead.
The souls, with respect to the free will, the souls who are against Krishna or those who want to enter in the material world, are they new souls or they are older souls?
There is nothing called new soul. Do you remember the second chapter? In the second chapter, Krishna tells that one can't trace when these souls came into being. There's nothing called new soul or old souls.
I mean, if a person who was in earlier incarnation some animal, so in that way, if he again tries to be in this material world, then how can we relate to that thing? He has already taken a birth previously, or it was a new soul.
I'm sorry, I didn't get your question. Say that again. If somebody, what I've understood, if somebody was an animal.
Yeah. Now he's upgraded to
human. Okay.
So is it his free will?
No.
It is his upgradation?
The way it works is that Prabhupada explains this, that we all come into this material world. The first time when we all come as humans. When we come from the spiritual world, we come as humans. And then depending on our activities here, we either stay as humans, we either go back to the spiritual world, or we degrade to, lower species. Now, depending on the activities, one can degrade to an animal. And from there, from the animal to human is a natural progression.
It's a natural progression. So
one after one, second, then third, then fourth, and that's how one comes to the human form.
So here it won't be his free will or is against, that is his upgradation.
Yeah, because in animal form, there is no collection of karma. Karma is only in the human form. There is no karma in animal species. Because Prabhupada explains this, because animals cannot really discriminate. They act on instinct. They cannot really
have the consciousness to discriminate.
Yeah, they don't have the consciousness to discriminate. So that is why there's no karma, and their progression is natural. Unless and until they get some mercy, some prasad, some harinam from some devotee, then they can make a jump. But otherwise, it is a natural progression.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. So now, Prabhupada, we read this, that ingredients of material manifestation are separated energies of the Lord. That the material energy, both the spiritual energy and the material energy are the energies of the Lord, but the material energy is considered as a separate energy because the Lord does not really deal with the material energy directly. So in the universal form, Maya or material energy hides behind Krishna. So the Lord does not directly deal with his material energy, so it is known as the separated energy. And then he says that some impersonalists, they think that this material world has so much variation, it is the source of so much misery. So the ultimate goal is to go to a place where there's no variation. So they think that Brahma Jyoti is the topmost, because in Brahma Jyoti there's no variation. They don't understand the concept of the spiritual world where there's variety, there are different rasas, there are different relationships. So they consider Brahma Jyotis as the topmost. And then Prabhupada also explains that the Paramatma manifestation is only in the material world. In the spiritual world, when a soul is in the spiritual form, there is no need for Paramatma to accompany such soul. So Paramatma is only accompanying a soul when the soul is in the material world. So in the spiritual world, Paramatma does not accompany a soul. There's no requirement of that. The soul is in its own spiritual form. So that's why Prabhupada is saying the Paramatma manifestation is not eternal in the spiritual world. Okay? So now somebody can read this portion in green.
Mataji, may I?
Yeah, go ahead. Just start reading. Yeah.
In the material energy, the principal manifestations are 8, as above mentioned. Out of these, the first 5 manifestations, namely earth, water, fire, air, and sky, are called the 5 gigantic creations or the gross creations, within which are the 5 sense objects are included. They are the manifestations of physical sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. Material science comprises these 10 items and nothing more, but the other 3 items, namely mind, intelligence,
Is that an internet issue with
are
her?
neglected by the materialist philosophers because they do ultimate source Krishna. The false ego, I am, and it is mine, which constitute the basic principle of material existence, includes 10 sense organs for material activities. Intelligence refers to the total material creation called the Mahat Tattva. Therefore, from the 8 separated energies of the Lord are manifest the 24 elements of the material world, which are the subject matter of Sankhya atheistic philosophy. They are originally offshoots from Krishna's energies and are separated from him, but atheist Sankhya philosophers with a poor fund of knowledge do not know Krishna as the cause of all causes.
Thank you. So here Prabhupada is talking about the 24 elements which are actually the subject matter of Sankhya philosophy. Those philosophers who believe in Sankhya philosophy, they actually study these 24 elements and do an analytical study. And I think you must have read it in chapter 3rd, I think, 3rd chapter, about what Sankhya philosophers do. That they do a study of these 24 elements. So is that okay? Is that clear to everyone or? Okay. So he's saying that, yes, Prabhu.
Mataji, I have a question here. Probably you will be discussing it, but Mataji, here it's mentioned that the false ego, which constitute the basic principle of material existence, include 10 sense organs for material activities. But as far as I am aware of 5 senses, Mataji, 5 sense organs.
Gross
So
and
what are the
subtle.
other 5?
Gross. That means that knowledge gathering and the gross senses, like the 5 gross elements and sense objects are what? Here it is said, no? Like physical sound, touch, form, taste, and smell, right? And similarly, then there are like 5 working senses and 5 knowledge acquiring senses. So the objects of these 10, these 5 each is 10. Okay? Text 5. अपरिमितस्त्व अन्यां प्रकृतिं विधि मे परां जीवा भूता महाबाहो येदं धार्यते jagat. Somebody can read the translation? Go ahead. Don't wait for me to say it. Just start reading.
Beside these, O mighty and armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature.
Yeah, so now he's talked about his material energy in the previous verse. Now he's talking about his marginal energy, which is considered as the spiritual energy. So he's basically primarily talking about the jivas. So, purport.
Here it is clearly mentioned that living entities belong to the superior nature or energy of the Supreme Lord. The inferior energy is matter manifested in different elements, namely earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Both forms of material nature, namely gross, earth, and subtle mind, are products of inferior energy. The living entities who are exploiting these inferior energies for different purposes are the superior energy of the Supreme Lord. It is due to this energy that the entire material world functions. The cosmic manifestation has no power to act unless it is moved by the superior energy, the living entity.
Thank you. So here, Prabhat is explaining that what Krishna is trying to say, that there are material elements and mind, ego, and intelligence. These all constitute material elements, and they are part of his material energy. But the jiva, because we are part and parcel of Krishna, we are part of the superior energy. But because in quality we are the same, but in quantity we are so minuscule that we are considered as marginal energy. Marginal energy. So marginal energy is also Krishna's superior energy. But what happens when this marginal energy tries to exploit the inferior energy? Because the marginal energy is so minuscule, it gets covered by this inferior energy. It gets covered by the material energy. So one would think that, oh, if we are superior and material energy is inferior, then how can material energy act upon us? The material energy is able to act upon us because we are minuscule. And Krishna will explain that Devi Esha Gunmai, my energy is divine. It is under my control. It is related to me. And that is why it is able to cover a conditioned soul. Okay, so somebody can read this.
The Supreme Lord Krishna is the only controller, and all living entities are controlled by him. These living entities are his superior energy because the quality of their existence is one and the same with the Supreme, but they are never equal to the Lord in quantity of power. While exploiting the gross and subtle inferior energy matter, the superior energy, the living entity, forgets his real spiritual mind and intelligence. This forgetfulness is due to the influence of matter upon the living entity, but when the living entity becomes free from the influence of the illusory material energy, he attains the stage called mukti or liberation. The false ego, under the influence of material illusion, thinks I am matter and material acquisitions are mine. His actual position is realized when he is liberated from all material ideas, including the conception of his becoming one in all respects with God. Therefore, one may conclude that Gita confirms the living entity to be only one of the multi energies of Krishna, and when this energy is freed from material contamination, it becomes fully Krishna conscious or liberated.
Okay, so I guess it is quite self-explanatory. Anyone has any questions from this purport, this verse? Okay, so let's go ahead. Sixth, एतद्योनिनि भूतानि सर्वानिति उपधारया अहं कृष्णस्य जगता प्रभवा प्रलयस्तथा.
All created beings have their source in these two natures. All of all that is material and that is spiritual in this world. Know for certain that I am both the origin and the
Dissolution, yeah.
dissolution.
So he's saying that all created beings have their source in these two natures, means that every created being has a material form and there is a spiritual spark, or my spiritual energy, because the spirit is the spiritual spark. And of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world, I am the origin and the dissolution. So Krishna is saying that I am actually the cause of all causes. Everything rests upon me. So this verse is also defeating materialism, in which it says that, oh, when this particular chemical, that particular chemical, they all come together, then life happens. So Krishna is actually making it very clear that I am the cause. I am the cause of all causes. Everything is actually originating from me. Yeah, somebody read this purport, please.
Everything that exists is a product of matter and spirit. Spirit is basic field of creation and matter is created by spirit. Spirit is not created at certain stage of material development. Rather, this material world is manifested only on the basis of spiritual energy. Similarly, the entire cosmic manifestation of the gigantic universe is developed because of the presence of the supersoul, Vishnu. Therefore, spirit and matter, which combines to manifest the gigantic universal form, are originally two energies of Lord, and consequently, the Lord is the original cause of everything. A fragmental part and parcel of Lord, namely the living entity, may be the cause of a big skyscraper, a big factory, or even a big city, but he cannot be the cause of a big universe. The cause of the big universe is big soul or the super soul, and Krishna, the supreme, is the cause of both big and small souls. Therefore, he is the original cause of all causes.
Yeah, so basically, what he's saying is that I'm behind everything. And Prabhupada is mentioning in these purports, he's talking that matter cannot act on its own. Spirit is needed to move the matter. So very, mundane example, that table, there could be a table lying in front of you. It is matter. Now, table cannot move on its own. Table can only move when a living entity or spirit is trying to move that table, right? Somebody has to move that table, then that table would move. So that's what he's saying, that actually matter is dead. Matter is dead and it needs spirit to move it. Similarly, when these universes are actually formed, when these universes manifest, till the time the Lord enters into these universes as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu and then in everybody as super soul, nothing works. It works only because of the presence of the superior energy. Everything works because of the presence of the superior energy. This body works because of the presence of soul and super soul. Both have spiritual superior energy. Otherwise, this body won't work. Okay? Text 7. So, important verse. Mata parantaram nanyat kinchid asti dhananjaya mai sarvam idam protam sutre mani gana eva. Yeah, somebody?
O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me, as pearls are strung on a thread.
So in the previous verse, we saw that Krishna mentioned that I am actually the source and I am also I'm both the origin and the dissolution. That I am behind creation and I am behind destruction. Now he's saying here that I am also the maintainer. It is not just creation and dissolution. It is not just origin and dissolution, but also everything rests on me. Everything rests on me. So this is a very important verse because first of all, it establishes that Krishna is a person. How does it establish that Krishna is a person?
Me, superior to me, this.
Yeah. He's standing there and he's saying that there's no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me. He's not saying everything rests on my Brahmajyoti, everything rests on, say, Paramatma. He's saying everything rests on me. So he's establishing that he's a person. And as pearls are strung on a thread. So if you've seen a necklace of pearls, can you see the thread? You can't see the thread. You can only see the pearls. So similarly, he's trying to say that I'm behind everything, but you can't see me. You're not able to see me, but actually I am behind everything. Just like if you pull out the thread, the necklace ceases to exist. There's no necklace if you pull out the thread, right? Similarly, Nothing will exist if Krishna is pulled out. Everything exists because he is behind everything. Okay, so let's read the purport.
As far as Bhagavad Gita is concerned, the absolute truth is the personality of Godhead Shri Krishna, and this is confirmed in every step. In this verse in particular, it is stressed that the absolute truth is a person, that the personality of Godhead is the supreme absolute truth, is also the affirmation of the Brahma Samhita. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidanand Vigraha. That is, the supreme absolute truth personality of Godhead is Lord Krishna, who is the primeval Lord, the reservoir of pleasure, Govinda, and the eternal form of complete bliss and knowledge. The impersonalist, however, argues on the strength of the Vedic version given in the Svetashwar Upanishad. Tato, Mataji, could you please read it?
Tato yad uttataram tad arupam anamayam. Ya etar vidur amritas te bhavanti athetare dukham evapiyanti. In the material world,
Thank you,
Brahma. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, in the material world, Brahma, the primeval living entity within this universe, is understood to be the supreme amongst the demigods, human beings, and lower animals. But beyond Brahma, there is the transcendence, who has no material form. No material form.
Yes,
And is free from all material contaminations. Anyone who can know him also becomes transcendental, but those who do not know him suffer the miseries of the material world.
Yeah.
The impersonalist.
Yeah, so let's just discuss this and we'll go and read ahead. So here he's saying that actually Prabhupada is quoting now in this purport, you see Prabhupada is quoting from different sources to establish this fact that Krishna is the cause of all causes. So first he's quoting from Brahma Samhita, that how Brahmaji establishes this fact by saying Ishvara Brahma Krishna Satchidanand Vigraha, that he is actually the reservoir of all pleasure and he is the Param Ishwar. He is the actual he is the absolute controller, absolute truth. And his body is like Satchidanand. His body is completely spiritual. He does not have a material form. And then he quotes from Shvetashvatara Upanishad, in which he says that the impersonalists normally quote this verse and says that in the material world, Brahma, the primeval living entity within the universe, is understood to be the supreme among the demigod, human beings and lower animals. But beyond Brahma, there is the transcendence, who has no material form. So they considered, oh, see, here it is said, he has no material form. Means he has no form. That means the supreme transcendence is what? He is impersonal. He has no form. So Prabhupada is here saying that the impersonalists put more stress on the word arupam. That means no roop, no form. But actually, arupam does not mean no form. It means no material form. He does not have a material form. He has a spiritual form, Satchidanand, full of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. Satchidanand. That is the form. So when arupam word is used, it is a lot of times you will see that this word comes arupam, or he has no body. So when or he has no form. When that comes, it basically means he has no material form like you and me. He has a spiritual form. So, but materialists don't interpret it properly. And then he says that he quotes further from, if you see, he quotes from other verses of Shvetashvatara Upanishad, and he substantiates that I know that Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is transcendental to all material conceptions of darkness, only he who knows him can transcend the bonds of birth and death. There is no way for liberation other than this knowledge of that Supreme Person. He is a person. He is not a light. He is not Brahma Jyoti. He is a person. And then he says, this next verse from Shvetashvatara Upanishad says, there is no true superior to that Supreme Person because he is the supermost. He is the smaller than the smallest. He is greater than the greatest. He is situated as a silent tree and he illumines the transcendental sky. What is that illumination of the transcendental sky? It is the Brahma Jyoti. It is the Brahma Jyoti. And as a tree spreads its root, he spreads his extensive energies. Okay? So now to the 8th verse. This is also a very frequently quoted verse by Srila Prabhupada. Rasohamapsu Kaunteya Prabhasmi Shashi Suryayo Pranava Sarva Vedeshu Shabda Ke Paurusham Rishu. Yeah, somebody read.
Son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound in ether and ability in a man.
Yeah. So now Krishna is now explaining that how we can perceive him in this material world. He's saying, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras, and I am the sound in ether and ability in man. And Prabhupada gives a very beautiful purport to this verse. So let's read. I think we'll read most of this purport. Go ahead.
This verse explains how the Lord is all perceived, all pervasive by his diverse material and spiritual energy. The Supreme Lord can be
Karunamai, your voice is
perceived by
echoing. Your voice is echoing, not able to hear you clearly. So say that again.
Am I audible now? Mataji?
Yeah, go ahead.
Now it is audible, Mataji?
Yeah, it is audible. Go ahead now.
The Supreme Lord can be preliminarily perceived by his different energies, and in this way he is realized impersonally as the demigod in the sun is a person and is perceived by his all-pervading energy. The sun shines so the Lord, although in his eternal abode, is perceived by his all-pervading diffusive energy.
Okay, stop. So here Prabhupada is giving stop. Prabhupada is giving an analogy of the sun. That sun, sun is actually situated in its own planet. Sun God is in his own planet. But how do we perceive sun God? By his energy, by the sunshine. When we see sunshine, we think that sun is out, right? We don't go and see the sun disk every time and see, oh, is the sun god there on the sun planet? No. We see sunshine and we conclude, oh, sun is out. Similarly, the Lord is situated in his eternal abode. He never leaves his abode. He's always there in his abode, and he can be perceived by his all-pervading diffusive energy. So here he's telling us how to perceive him in this material world, that when you see different things, how they should remind you of me, that this is because of me. Right? Go ahead.
Of water is the active principle of water. No one likes to drink seawater because the pure taste of water is mixed with salt. Attraction for water depends on the purity of the taste, and this pure taste is one of the energies of the Lord. The impersonalists perceive the presence of the Lord in water by its taste, and the personalist also glorifies the Lord for his kindly supplying tasty water to quench man's thirst. That is the way of perceiving the Supreme. Practically speaking, there is no conflict between personalism and impersonalism. One who knows God knows that the impersonal conception and personal conception are simultaneously present in everything, and there is no contradiction. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya established his sublime doctrine, Achintya Bheda and Abheda Tattva, simultaneous oneness and doctrine.
Yeah. So Prabhupada explains this, that actually the active principle is in water is what? The taste of water. Water is of different types, and he's giving the example. Yes, the sea water is also water, but it doesn't quench our thirst. What quenches our thirst is the taste of water, and that is the active principle. So when an impersonalist sees this verse, so he says, oh, Krishna is the taste of water. But a personalist sees this as, oh, Krishna is so kind for supplying such nice water to me. So a personalist perceives the same thing in a different manner. So Prabhupada is saying that they both can perceive Krishna, but one perceives Krishna as an impersonal, in his impersonal feature, that, oh, Krishna is the taste. Now, how do you really relate to that in the personal feature? This is the impersonal aspect of Krishna, and an impersonalist relates to Krishna like that. But a personalist sees Krishna is so kind. He has given me water, which is so nice, which is so tasty, due to which I am able to quench my thirst. So a personalist sees this. So Prabhupada says actually there is no conflict between the two. It's just their different ways of understanding. There's no conflict. There doesn't have to be a conflict. And everything has an impersonal aspect and a personal aspect. And we will see this in the 9th chapter. He'll actually do this many times. He'll say, I'm actually in the material world and not there. And then he'll say, I'm never there. So you will understand this, that this is the Achinta Bheda Bhed Tattva, simultaneously present and not present. This is how we understand. Yeah, go ahead.
The light of the sun and the moon is also originally emanating from the Brahma Jyoti, which is the impersonal effulgence of the Lord. And Pranava or the Omkar, transcendental sound in the beginning of every Vedic hymn, addresses the Supreme Lord. Because the impersonalists are very much afraid of addressing the Supreme Lord Krishna by his innumerable names, they prefer to vibrate the transcendental sound Omkar, but they do not realize that Omkar is the sound representation of Krishna. Thus, the jurisdiction of Krishna consciousness extends everywhere, and one who knows Krishna consciousness is blessed.
Yeah. So Prabhupada is saying, because Krishna says that I am the light of the sun and the moon. So how is he light of the sun and the moon? That Krishna's bodily effulgence is the Brahma Jyoti, and moon and sun reflect that light in this world. They reflect that Brahma Jyoti light. So that is how he is the light of the sun and the moon. And then now he says that I am also the pranava in the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. So Prabhupada is explaining that the Vedic mantras always start with Om, and that Om denotes Krishna. But impersonalists don't want to accept Krishna, so they think that Om is actually the ultimate. But Om is just a impersonal representation of Krishna's name. Instead of saying Krishna, we can say Om, but that is impersonal. Prabhupada says that if you know who God is and you know what his name is, then why should you use any other word? You should just use his name, Krishna. Right? So, but the impersonalists prefer, because they don't have faith in Krishna. They don't understand Krishna, so they prefer the word Omkar. They address Krishna as Omkar, and Omkar is nothing but the sound representation of Krishna. Hare Krishna Mahamantra is also a sound representation of Krishna, but it's a personal sound representation of Krishna, whereas Omkar is the impersonal sound representation of Krishna. Is that okay? Yes, Prabhu?
So Mataji, so the one who chants Omkar will reach up till the Brahmjyoti level, right?
Yes. Okay, 9th. Punyo gandha prithviyam cha tejaschasmi vibhavaso jivanam sarvabhuteshu tapaschasmi tapasvishu. Translation. Somebody read, please.
I'm the original fragrance of the.
I'm the original.
Okay, who's reading?
I'm the original fragrance of the earth, and I'm the heat in the fire. I'm the life of all that lives, and I'm the penance of all aspects. Punya means that which is not decomposed. Punya is original. Everything in the material world has a certain fragrance, as the fragrance in the flower or in the earth, in water, in fire, in air, etc. The uncontaminated fragrance, the original fragrance which permeates everything, is Krishna. Similarly, everything has particular original taste, and this taste can be changed by the mixture of chemicals. So everything has some original fragrance and taste. Vibhavasu means fire. Without fire, we cannot run factories, we cannot cook, etc. And that fire is Krishna. The heat in the fire is Krishna. According to Vedic medicines, indigestion is due to the local temperature in the belly. So even for the digestion, fire is needed. In Krishna consciousness, we become aware that earth, water, fire, air, and every active part principle, all chemicals and all material elements are due to Krishna. The duration of man's life is due to Krishna. Therefore, by the grace of Krishna, man can prolong his life or diminishes it. So Krishna consciousness is active in every sphere.
Here he's explaining that I'm the original fragrance of the earth. That, and Prabhupada is explaining that everything has an original fragrance, and the source of that fragrance is earth. So he's saying that I'm the original fragrance of the earth, and how we can understand this is if you have different kind of seeds, different flower seeds, the seeds don't have any fragrance. But once you plant them in the earth, then different flowers come and they all have different fragrances. So that fragrance actually originates in earth. And I'm the heat and fire. So because what is the active principle in fire? Light and heat. So he's saying I'm the heat and fire. And Prabhupada says that this heat of the fire is required in everything, including our digestion. If we don't have enough heat in our body, enough fire in the belly, we won't be able to digest very well. So the source of good digestion is also Krishna. You know, if you are able to digest properly, that is also because of his mercy, because of him. And I am the life of all that lives. There's nobody can really contend that. And I am the penances of all ascetics. So ascetics are those people who perform different, tapasyas and different penances. So he's saying I'm penances of all ascetics. What does it mean? That the ability of an ascetic to tolerate that penance or to tolerate that austerity, that ability comes from me. That ability comes from me. Or because the essence of an ascetic life is penance. So I am that. Okay? So that's how he's explaining this. Okay, now 10th. बीजं मां सर्वभूतानां विधि पार्थ सनातनं बुद्धिर्बुद्धिमतामस्मि तेजस्विनामहम्. Somebody read.
O son of Pratha, know that I am the original seed of all existences, the intelligence of the intelligent, and the prowess of all powerful men.
Yeah, so he's explaining further that how you can see me. So why is it important to focus on these verses? Because if we understand this, we'll be able to see Krishna in this material world. We'll able to remember Krishna in this material world. We can actually be Krishna conscious while existing in this material world. So that is why these verses assume so much importance. Purport?
Every entity is contaminated within the scope
Contained
within the scope of 84 lakhs species of life, and some of them are moving and some of them are inert. In all cases, however, the seat of their life is Krishna. Krishna is Param Brahm, the Supreme Spirit. Brahman is impersonal and Parabrahm is personal. Impersonal Brahm is situated in the personal aspect that is stated in Bhagavad Gita, Brahmano hi pratisthaham. Therefore, originally Krishna is the source of everything. He is the root, as the root of a tree maintains the whole tree. Krishna, being the original root of all things, maintains everything in this material manifestation. नित्यो नित्यनाम चेतनास चेतनानाम एको बहुनाम यो vidyahati kaman. He is the prime eternal among all eternals. He is the supreme living entity of all living entities, and he alone is maintaining all life. One cannot do anything without intelligence. And Krishna also said that he is the root of all intelligence. Unless a person is intelligent, he cannot understand that the supreme personality of Godhead Krishna.
Okay, so here is Prabhupada is explaining that how he's the seed of everything. Every species is actually originating from Krishna because he is what? He is the source of each and every spirit. All the spirits are coming from Krishna. And then Prabhupada is explaining that the source of impersonal Brahma is also Krishna. What is impersonal Brahma? Krishna's effulgence. That is impersonal. So source is also Krishna. He is the root of everything. If the root isn't there, the tree cannot really manifest. So he is the root. He is the cause of all causes. And when he's quoting from Katha Upanishad, he's saying Nitya Nityanam Chetanas Chetnanam Eko Bahunam Yo Vidhati Kaman. Again, a very frequently quoted verse in which he says that he is actually the prime eternal among the eternals and he is the supreme living entity and he's the cause of everything. Even whatever intelligence we have, is the source is Krishna. Sometimes we accomplish something, we become very proud. Does it happen? We accomplish something, you say, oh, see, what did I do? I'm so good. I managed to do this. Do we really realize that this is all happening because of Krishna? This is Krishna's mercy, or because of Krishna that I have this ability? No. So when we read these verses, it should remind us that I have this intelligence, I could do this. Actually, it is Krishna's mercy. This is Krishna's mercy. The day he decides to withdraw that mercy, I won't be able to function at all. Is that true? The day he decides to withdraw that mercy, what will we do? Nothing. He is the source of everything. So when we function in this material world, if we accomplish anything, we should know it is nothing but mercy of Krishna. Every ability is coming from him. And yes, Prabhu.
Mataji, when we read these verses, we got to know the gist of it. Yes, Krishna is the source of everything. But when we close the book or we do some other activities, we tend to forget this. So what is the primary act that keeps us to remind that yes, Krishna is the source of everything?
Reading again and again. That's why we have to, because we have very short memories. And the Maya and the material energy of the Lord is extremely powerful, and she acts in two ways. Avranatmika and Prakshitpatmika. Avranatmika means she covers very quickly. We have some realization today, within few days is gone. Because she has this covering potency. So that is why we keep in touch with these texts regularly. We read again and again to remind ourselves. We don't think, okay, now, I've read Bhagavad Gita, I passed my Bhakti Shastra exam, that's it. No, we keep reading again and again because we'll forget. We won't remember.
Okay, so Mataji, likewise, the 4 steps for hearing, you earlier stated, so the 4 steps will remain same for reading as well, right?
Yes. When we read something, we contemplate and then we try to apply it in our lives. And then we also pray, Vandanam. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
So now text 11. Bala balavatam chaham kamaraga vivarjitam dharma virudho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. Translation.
I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. I am sixth life, which is contrary to religious.
Which is not contrary.
Which is not contrary to religious principles. A lord of Bharat, a lord of the Bharatas. The strong man's strength should be applied to protect the weak, not for personal aggression. Similarly, sixth life, according to the religious principles, dharma should be for the propagation of children, not otherwise. The responsibility of parent is then to make their offspring Krishna conscious.
Thank you. So here, Krishna is saying that I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. So a lot of times in the material world, we see people who are strong, who have the strength. But what are they using their strength for? For self-promotion.
Fighting. Yep.
For their self-interest, for their own sense gratification. So he's saying that what kind of strength actually represents me? That strength, which is normally in Vedic society we would see Kshatriyas have. Their strength is used to protect the weak. They would use that strength to protect their praja. That is what the strength was used for. That kind of strength represents Krishna. And then he's saying that I am the sex life which is not contrary to religious principles. That sex life which is centered around getting Krishna conscious children, for procreation of Krishna conscious children, is not contrary to religious principles, and that represents Krishna. So it is the responsibility of every Krishna conscious person to practice in such a way that we practice it according to religious principles and not contrary. Okay? So Prabhupada is explaining that is the responsibility of the parents to make their offspring Krishna conscious. And Prabhupada in many places explains that it starts from Garbhadan Sanskar. Garbhadan Sanskar means when a couple decides that, okay, now we want to welcome a child, but we want to welcome a devotee soul. So they take blessings from, permission and blessings from advanced devotees, their spiritual masters, and then they actually develop their consciousness in such a way that we want this child to be Krishna's servant. We don't want this child for our sense gratification. We want this child as Krishna's servant. We want to welcome a devotee. And then from the very beginning, they perform all such activities that help that person to become, that jiva to become Krishna conscious. So that is the responsibility of a parent. Okay? 12. Ye chaiva satvika bhava rajasastamasaschaye mata eveti tan vidhi natva aham teshu te mai. Prabhu, you have a question? Yeah, go
Yes,
ahead.
Madhu. Madhu, in the previous verse, we talked about the responsibility of the parents is to make their offspring Krishna conscious. So if I'll share that my parents are not devotees, but still I am into this bhakti and all, and I'll try to practice Krishna consciousness. So is this my prarabdha or the sukritis, or how about that I come in touch with Krishna consciousness?
Most likely, yes, that you must have performed some activities in your past life, due to which you had bhakti sukriti. Sometimes it's just by the causeless mercy of a very advanced devotee. So, could be many reasons. Like Prabhupada told his disciples that I made your good fortune. I actually created your good fortune. By coming in contact with me, your good fortune arose. So, yeah, but if we are in devotional service, our parents may not have been devotees. We were not raised as devotees, but later on, when we came in contact with devotees and devotional literature, we decided to take up this path. It could very well mean that we have done some devotional activities in our past life. Yeah. Vaibhavi?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. So, Mataji, is it possible that if parents are involved into Brahman realization some or the other way, and because of that their offspring is involved into Krishna consciousness, can that be relatable?
Yes, parents could be in anything, and the offspring still can become Krishna conscious. But the advisable way is that the parents actually, from the beginning, made such an environment so that it is, in a way, guaranteed that a Krishna conscious, soul would come. Because if you have it normally, how likely it is that the child would become Krishna conscious? Not very likely. How many people really come to Krishna consciousness? How many of your friends are really into Krishna consciousness? Hardly any, right? So Krishna says, why take that chance? One should act in a proper manner, especially if you're already a devotee, then it's your responsibility to act properly. If you're not a devotee, you could be Brahman realized, you could be non-devotee, you could be atheist. But every soul has his journey. That free will is there with every soul. Your parents may have been atheists, but you came in contact with the devotees and it appealed to you and you decided to take it up. That option is always there. Similarly, your parents may have been Krishna conscious, they may have done everything Krishna consciously, and you still may choose not to take up Krishna consciousness.
Okay. A judge's son cannot be judged.
Sorry?
A judge's son cannot be judged. We can
Yeah,
understand from this.
not necessarily. Can be, like we can see in case of a lot of Prabhupada's disciples. A lot of them, their children are not devotees. For a lot of them, their children are very good devotees, but for a lot of them, their children are not devotees. So even though the facility may be there, the individual soul always has this option. The free will is always there. Today you are chanting and you may be initiated, you may be whatever. Tomorrow you may decide, I don't want to do it. That option is always with you.
Mataji, I have one more question regarding the free will. As you said that one has a free will, they can either choose to come in Krishna consciousness or either they can step into material world.
Yeah.
So does the intelligence for coming in Krishna consciousness is given by Krishna? Because one is how is one getting that mindset for having that will? No.
There is very subtle difference. You know, you may be reading Bhagavad Gita and you get this spiritual intelligence. Oh, well, I should be a devotee. I should practice. But the desire of a jiva can still act independently. You may have all the knowledge, everything. But the desire may still be, oh, well, you know what? I don't want to go to the class. I want to go for a movie. So that desire is something which we should train up using our spiritual intelligence. But the jiva has a choice to train or not to train. When we read these shastras, it should actually give us the transcendental knowledge. It should sharpen our spiritual intelligence. And that spiritual intelligence should guide us in everything. But you still have the choice not to do it. Right? The intelligence is telling you do it this way. But a jiva still has an option of choosing to follow or not follow.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay, so translation. Somebody read, please.
All material activities in the world are being conducted.
Read the start from the translation. We haven't read the translation yet.
Sorry. Know that all states of being, be they of goodness, passion, or ignorance, are manifested by my energy. I am, in one sense, everything, but I am independent. I am not under the modes of material nature, for they, on the contrary, are within me. All material activities in the world are being conducted under the three modes of material nature, although these material modes of nature are emanations from the Supreme Lord Krishna. He is not subject to them. For instance, under the straight laws one may be punished, but the king, the lawmaker, is not subject to that law. Similarly, all the modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, are emanations from the Supreme Lord Krishna, but Krishna is not subject to material nature. Therefore, it is nirguna, which means that these gunas or modes, although issuing from him, do not affect him. That is one of the special characteristics of Bhagavan, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah, so here Krishna is saying that all these, states of being, these gunas, goodness, passion, and ignorance, are manifested by my energy. Which energy? The material energy. The material energy is constituted of these three modes. These three modes make the material energy. So he's saying that they are manifested by my energy. So I'm in one sense everything, but I'm independent. In what sense? So Prabhupada gives the example of a king or a lawmaker, that he makes certain laws. Krishna has made these laws of nature, But he is not subject to these laws of nature, just like a king is not subject to the laws he has made. Right? So he's saying that I'm not under the modes of material nature, for they are, on the contrary, within me. That material modes come from me, but I am not under them. Just like a king may decide to visit the prison just to see how the prisoners are being kept in the prison, that doesn't mean that since he's visiting the prison, it doesn't mean that, oh, he's also one of the prisoners. It doesn't mean that. He's just come to visit, just to see what's going on. Similarly, Krishna, his energy actually constitutes these three modes. Everyone is under these three modes, but Krishna, although this is his energy, he's above it. He's the owner of that energy. He's not under his energy. The energies are not the controller. He is the Shaktiman. He has these Shaktis. He's a Shaktiman. These energies are not controlling him. He is the energetic. All right? So our time is up for today. So we have covered till the 12th verse. We'll try to go a little fast tomorrow and try to cover the whole chapter tomorrow. That's what I want to do. Okay? So what I'll encourage you all to do is go back and see your questions. Go through your question bank and see the questions from this section. And in case you feel that I don't know the answer for this question, we can discuss it tomorrow. All right? Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for being very patient and listening, very patiently participating. So, yeah, I'm stopping this. Okay, thank you very much. All
Thank you so much, ma'am. Pranam.
Please accept my
Thank you
humble
so much,
obeisances.
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
All glory to Krishna Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Pranam to all devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.